person. What are you talking about? I have more experience. So it'll create quite a conflict.
It's going to push us further and further into AI, which is great.
Well, the other thing that could happen is some lawsuits because if you can prove that you were paid
for that.
unfairly.
No, because you
he was talking about this being pushed further and further into AI, and I was like, I'm sort of pro AI, so especially at this point, man, people
I
are just
don't like
so
people. Yeah,
no, I don't
you
have
can
a
trust
problem
AI.
with AI.
You can't, but
No, it's just going to speed up the timeline because it's cheaper. That's all I'm saying.
No, I know what to expect. Even Skynet. I know why Skynet's doing what it's doing. I can understand it. It's a reasonable, at least. It's a rational response. I told you what I got told last night. We ain't going to bring it up, but I mean, just people say some of the craziest crackpot theories and conspiracies. You're just like, oh, maybe I'll get this bull crap.
All right, well, let's get started. Welcome to Dicejunkies. I'm Xenodamus here with
Q.
And on Skype.
Yeah, Bloodaxe.
All right, let's get started. Oh, man. This
It's already
one.
over.
This one.
Look at the first topic. It's already
Gonna rip the Band-Aid off?
What's that?
You gonna rip the Band-Aid off?
The fun. Ubisoft tells the crew players they never actually own the game.
This is what Jarek agrees with you on, Bloodaxe, about physical media, except that they pulled your ability to play the physical media as well. So, just do it. Just cover it. What they said is ballsy. Like, just, these guys got thermal detonators for nuts. Because, like, they went in there and just looked people in the face and said, we ain't sell you nothing.
Yeah, I mean that's the gist of it. I mean, the gist of it is Ubisoft says you don't own shit, and they can do what they want.
And we didn't sell it to you. They act like they didn't sell it. They're like, nah, man, you rented a limited access to the game for a period of time. What about the physical copies? You physically rented.
No, one of the funny arguments was the never play alone argument, where they basically had this argument. Well, the game says on the box you never play alone. So once we took down the servers, obviously you can't play anymore. You know, like that was based. I mean, it was a rough jest of what they said, but it was just hilarious. Like, well, it said never play alone.
Now, yeah, well, but there is a twist to this that really might twist them, might catch them. But I want to give Bloodaxe a chance to put his 2 cents in before I go into the one catch that may hit Ubisoft really bad.
So, I've always preferred to own physical media for multiple reasons. Number one, I hate paying for something I can't actually physically touch. But when it comes to a lot of these games, and I give you an example from the 360 days, Chrome Hounds. You know, that was meant to be an online game, and yes, you had to pay for a physical copy. But when the player base dropped, it wasn't necessarily worthwhile to keep the servers going anymore. The game went defunct, and even if you own the physical copy, you really can't play shit. But for the game like The Crew, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but it's a solo one player only game. You're not playing against anybody else unless there's like some kind of racing mode I'm not familiar with. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to buy a disc, plug it into your system, or download it on your PC and play it without having to check for a server access. So that makes absolutely zero sense to me for a single player only game, not being able to play it whenever you want. It's like, I mean, you can go buy any Nintendo system from the 80s and get a cartridge and play it, and you can play it today without any problems. So why are they limiting access to games that are not online multiplayer games? That makes absolutely zero sense other than they're farming your data. And when we sign up for these games and we just bypass all the licensing agreement, don't bother reading a damn thing about it, that's probably what they're farming, giving up so they can try to screw you in the future. Anyway, I've got a migraine, so I'm probably going to be the salty Bloodaxe of the day and not necessarily the looking on the bright side of things. But this type of stuff just makes me not want to play any new video games, because in a year or two, when I want to go back and play something, they're going to fuck me on it.
Yeah.
No, they're going to re-release it and make you buy it again. That's why we now know why they keep re-releasing the games.
Skyrim?
No, everything. They're releasing all the retro games. This is why they're doing it. It's because they can keep selling you the same game over and over and over. But here's where they might catch some trouble. One is that I looked up some laws a little bit, and while it's up to the judge, courts can get you based on intent. No matter how much fine print you have, they can go, a reasonable person would assume they purchased this product. And they can overrule it and go, no, we don't care if you managed to put a bunch of sneaky stuff in there or you put a lot of fine print. You sold this person, and I went to the store. Nothing in the store implies you don't own the game. I went to the store. It looks like you're buying the game when you buy it. There's no disclaimers or anything until you literally turn the game on, usually. There is no disclaimer at purchase. And that could be one thing, is that they're not telling you at purchase. So when you turn the game on, that's when you sign all these EULAs. Am I wrong? You don't sign a EULA before you play the game.
That is true. At purchase, you do not.
So you're buying the game and then being told you don't own this.
Once you've opened a game,
you're then being told that
you can't. So if you have physical copy, there's no EULA until there's no point of return. Because if you open a game, you can't return it.
And if you don't sit on the game too long, you can't return a digital copy.
And so then with digital copies, digital copies a little iffier there because you do purchase the game, but
here's the catch.
You have to play the game for so many hours before you can not return it.
But there's another catch though. How do you sign the digital EULA? Somebody hits a button. It might not be the person that purchased the game. It could be your kid.
Well, that's true.
It could be anybody. There isn't honestly, to me, the digital EULA not very effective at being binding, given that they don't know if your kid turned. I mean, Bloodaxe got young kids, man. They could have turned on his thing and hit the button.
I've never read them, but I do know that Steam and Ubisoft Store and stuff tend to have a EULA when you sign up to their online digital stores, though. So
that's for them, though. That ain't necessarily for each individual game purchase.
I don't know. I haven't read it. That's what I'm saying. So they could get around it there if they have something in that print.
No, the angle that the lawsuit is using.
What blood?
For those who are listening and don't know what a EULA is, it's a user licensing agreement, just for the normies out there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. You click the button on the beginning of the game, which, you might be 12 when you do that, which is why, like I said, it's a little flimsy in and of itself. Because normally in this country, a minor can't sign a contract. Now,
let's point out where Ubisoft may have screwed themselves.
The real one is that, and they're using this, the lawyers are using this and they're suing them, is that Ubisoft sold digital currency. Well, it turns out there's laws about digital currency. In particular, the digital currency cannot expire. So, the digital currency they sold you is only usable on the crew. It's digital currency for the game. So, quite literally, they might not be able to pull the game if it would cause you to not be able to spend your digital currency they sold you. So, who knew? All of that dang loot boxing and monetization
that's part of it.
Could be the catch that stops them from doing it.
There's also the physical copy that had the activation code.
Yes.
The activation code actually on the retail version listed that it doesn't expire until 2099.
Yeah, and that's another thing. That activation code is supposed to still work. So if you have a physical copy, you have a valid argument to go, I'm supposed to be able to play this game to 2099. You know what? You get rid of after that, that's okay. My grandkids probably won't mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, then we have to get into game inheritance,
Yeah.
Digital inheritance, which is really nasty.
I don't think by 2099, hopefully games will be good enough nobody wants to play the old version of the crew anymore. But
I don't know the rate they're going now.
But that, and like I said, and that people are sitting on currency. Because here's the best part. Why do people have currency left over? It's because these jackass sell you currency in quantities where you can't completely purchase something because they'll make it 700 and you got to buy it at 500. But this may turn against them because that means I have 200 credits that can't expire legally.
I will say there are several companies that do digital currency that allow you to buy the exact amount. Nintendo being one of them. If you go buy currency now, if you're doing it like a gift card, they have increments. But if you go to buy something on on the Nintendo store, they'll get you to go, okay, well, you can buy, one of these chunks, or you can just get the exact amount, which is sort of convoluted because it's just like, well, why couldn't I just pay with cash to begin with? But
they're trying to get you to commit because you think you're saving money because you're getting discounts on the chunk. But, it's all.
But no, you don't get any discounts on the chunk. The chunk is the chunk. It will always be the chunk. Like,
oh, well, then I don't know. People are stupid.
Yeah.
That's people true. Are very dumb, especially like people who buy digital currency. But here's why this could be interesting. If the digital currency in particular hits, it could be a major blow against loot boxing and monetization strategies because you don't want to sell your own currency because if people are sitting on that currency and you want to turn off the service, you can get in trouble. I hope that's the angle that actually stops it. I'm tired of digital currency. Just let me buy it. Just charge me $5, man. You know what I mean? Just charge me $5. The digital currency is a hustle. It's a cheat. It's a screw over. And it'd be nice to see that gone. It really would. Because then you'd have to put the real prices on there. And that's why they don't want to do it, because it also obfuscates that they want $30 for blue. As Angry Joe would say, for blue, you want $30 for blue. And, instead they go, no, we want 1,500 Zeta Wonkos, some crap. Well, now they have to actually put down.
And I will say, I think Nintendo's digital currency is just cash. It's a weird way of doing cash because it's like you can't just pay something direct. You have to digitally add your cash to their cash currency, and then you can spend that cash to buy. Yeah. Instead of me just directly being able to buy something, I've got to put it in
they're selling you digital currency.
Yeah.
I want it to stop. So if nothing else, if this pulls it off, that'll be great. But now that $20.99 is the one that says.
But I will say a lot of these games with like the cosmetics and stuff, where they'll only sell you the $19.99 package or the and it's just like,
and it doesn't even.
But I just want this one thing that's 500 coins and 500 coins. $750. But I got to buy $750. Yeah. And it's just like,
is there anything on there $250? Nope. But there's something $300.
Yeah.
But your lowest increment's $250. Well, you know what? Because I'm not gonna lie, I've got a bunch of leftover digital currency. Usually just because I got the special edition. And they gave me some. It'd be funny if every one of those games wasn't allowed to turn off their servers because I still have like 50 credits, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna sit on that.
Wait a minute. That just reminds me, how much iron did you get when you bought the special stuff for the Gears 5 packs just so you can get Coltrane when you had to buy those back in the day?
Oh, yeah, I probably got some credit on there, but you know what? Got to give them credit. Servers are still up. We'll see what happens when they close it. But
well, hell, the Gears 1 servers from the old 360 days are still up. So there's, those are still going on, but there are certain other games that are from 360 days that aren't even close to being up anymore. And so it's one of those things that, eventually there's going to be enough upset gamers that are going to band together to have a class action lawsuit, and we're going to see hopefully a change in the gamers' favor in the future. But until that happens, we're already voting with our pocketbooks, not buying some of this stuff. But that's things that trying to think of a good way to put it without getting myself in trouble. We're voting for quality. But now we're going to get to the point where we're voting for value, especially with Nintendo jacking up the price of their games to $80.
And they say PlayStation and Xbox are already starting to want to jump on that bandwagon, which I think is just going to make PC win even more because PC games tend to charge different values. They don't always follow that trend.
They usually follow the trend.
I mean, the games released by those companies of PC. I'm talking about our guy, actual pure PC developers, indie developers.
Yeah, but at least PC games go on sale.
Now that's the Nintendo way. Nothing goes on sale with Nintendo.
Right.
Xbox Digital Store and PlayStation Digital Store don't often do sales, but back when you had physical copies, you could get physical sales. Now
of the used game,
digital sales seem to be less often. Now they do occasionally. And I will say, when you see a digital sale, it's usually a good digital sale.
Well, yeah, it's like Hogwarts Legacy. I didn't buy it until it went 50% off. I had it on my wish list for, oh God, a year or so. And it finally went on sale, half off, and that's when I went and bought it.
Well, that's
And I will say Nintendo, Xbox will at least send you an alert. Hey, jackass, your game's on your wish list is on sale. Do you want to buy it? How much is it off? 20%? No, I'm going to wait. And then, was it Age of Wonders 4? It's a game I've been watching for a while. It finally went on sale. And I had through the Microsoft Point Store, it had like $50 off. So I'm like, you know what? I'll pay $20 for a game that I've been interested in because it throws me back to the old Master Magic days. If anyone played that on the DOS. So again, we are more interested in value right now for our dollar because with the way the prices are going up, we're not going to drop, $60 for a game that we're not really sure we're going to enjoy because we've been screwed so many times over the past several years with games that we were excited about trying to be clunkers. So once we get to the point to where, we're becoming more frugal with our money, yeah, games are going to suffer. And if I have to choose between a game that is going to be an online game that once the server go down, I can't play it, probably not going to buy it unless it's something that I just really have to play.
Yeah, and here's the thing with the crew. There was the ways they could have handled this a lot better. Like me and Q and our boy Jarek, had a long discussion about this the other day, and it's just like you had two options really that were better, and really wouldn't have cost you much. And that would be one, release the server code. Go, hey, this is the connection points. If you want to continue playing this game, you can,
run your own
you have
servers.
this access to run your own servers. Two, there's not that many people playing the game. Honestly, you could have put one machine into a corner or sectioned off a bunch, a section of your virtual machine or whatever you're using to run, and just go, okay, that's over there. It's not that big of a deal. It probably wasn't taking much, unless they did really dumb with their server code to begin with. And at that point, they probably just should have just rewritten the server code. And then third option is to make it offline mode, and that's probably the more expensive of the options.
I mean, that's the thing, though. Like Bloodaxe said, there are games, man, so much older that clearly they don't have a massive number of people playing these older versions of the games, but they stuck a server, like you said, in the corner.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I mean, a lot of these games companies, they have a standardized connection protocol. And so with a standardized connection protocol, they're just using, they're like, oh, well, if you want to play, you connect with each other. This is our proxy that you're connecting through, and everything's good. Because they had sort of, I get why, because they have this weird system of these other cars showing up in your game and stuff, from what I understand.
Possibly. I don't know. I never played. Dude, you know me in racing games, like.
So maybe they created some unique server code. But honestly, that should be on them. That should not be on the consumer. And I hope they get slapped around by this lawsuit and
set some precedent that change the way it goes. And as far as on a quick comment on the raising prices, that's how you win. You know what happens. You know how you get them to knock the prices down from. Oh, that picture always gets me, man. It's like a jump scare. But the way you get them off of the prices is that you don't buy it till it's 20-30% off, and then they'll realize they can't sell it for that. If every game they put out, people wish listed and come back around when it's $70, they're gonna eventually just go, dude, we're wasting our freaking time.
Yes and no. I mean, here's the problem with that, and this is gonna be down a rabbit hole, so hold on to your horses. But if you go and say, well, now we're not going to buy games because of the prices. Now you look at the current market. We're not buying games because they suck right now. Now they'll go and they'll create a good game, but they'll mark up the prices. And they're just like, oh, well, games aren't selling at all. Let's just fuck games. Or, oh, look, we did what they wanted, but they didn't buy our game. Yeah, well, you charged $100 for it,
Well, let's go down, dude. I've told you.
I'm just saying, it feels like we can't win right now in the game industry, dude. Because as soon as we start not buying games for a different reason and we're currently not buying games, they're going to blame all the not buying games on
I think we need to reboot the whole gaming industry and get all new companies. It's rotten.
It
all
is rotten.
The AAA companies can go die in a ditch. All of them. They all suck. And then the ones I like, they come back around and they piss me off again. And no company has my faith right now. So
what?
maybe
EA
we just
doesn't
need
have your
all
faith?
new.
EA doesn't have your faith, man? I mean, Mass Effect is going to be coming out soon, right?
No, I hope they hired some new talent in order to make sure that game comes out well.
Oh, look. Prof. Brown from the Concord
University
game that
of-
did so well is apparently now working for EA.
That's talent. Not good talent, but it's talent.
I mean, it takes something to lose that much money and to make the worst fail in gaming history for at least a decade or so. It does. It's one of the most impressive, visible fails ever seen.
I mean, obviously they couldn't have put her in a role that might, shape the way games are done.
No, she failed up.
No, hold on.
No,
It's
she failed up.
them. Get it right. It's right there on screen.
She failed up.
You brought it up. It's on screen. That's why I had to go it's on screen. We can't even say we don't know. It's right there.
I don't care.
I know you don't. Neither do I. But they failed up.
Principal world designer is what it got for EA. And
You say it.
principal game designer was what it did for Concord.
Keep dropping along.
I can't breathe. You're trying to kill me.
Oh, don't say that too loud. You get in trouble.
Oh. Okay, I'm okay. I'm red face down. Oh, you got me with that one. I didn't see that coming. Oh,
And that's hard for you to do.
So, yeah. The position is just... Oh, I'm letting you go. I'm going to talk about this again.
You're going to put me on the spot?
I'm just getting in trouble. So,
We stay in
Prof
trouble.
failed upwards, which is a weird EA call because this is the EA that put out Veilguard, which bombed horribly. So they've had what Prof brings to the table already. It ruined one of their game franchises. And for them to be hired on right when Mass Effect's getting worked on, and it's the only real project we could find that's kind of in the works, implies that the goal is to let them work on Mass Effect and do what they did to Veilguard, because apparently Veilguard was not a big enough failure, and Concord didn't scare them despite it being basically now the literal example of game failure. So you're looking at a very serious failure upcoming. There's just the truth. It's a failure incoming.
the bad thing is the only EA game I can think of currently in develop that could use like a world design or game design is Mass Effect. And so I'm hoping and praying that that's not what she's working on.
It is, we know it. It's a major gig. And what
Do you
major
think
gig
they'll
does
get a
EA
finished
have
game
to
this
offer
time?
anybody? Huh?
Do you think they'll get a finished Mass Effect this time?
Because here's the thing. Concord was a
It's
sci-fi.
supposed to.
Concord was a
They didn't
sci-fi.
finish our last one.
Concord was a sci-fi space shooter. What game do you think they were hired to work on? It wasn't friggin' Madden. It wasn't FIFA. It was friggin' Mass Effect. Unless there's an unknown sci-fi game, they were hired to screw up a different space game. There's got to be. I can't think of any other game they could have been hired to work on.
Now, I will say, is that really filling up, though? I mean, going from principal game designer to principal world designer. Because the game's the whole thing. The world is just a portion of the game.
For them, anything other than trash person, like...
Well, no, I'm just
That's what you
saying.
call it. I was going to say
it's,
trash man, but I don't know what
I mean, other than going
neutral
from a
term
more
is.
indie, smaller studio to a
To
very
EA.
large corporation, I get that maybe
Yeah,
where they're failing
Firewalk
up.
to EA.
But I mean, also going from Firewalk, where you're the principal game designer, and going to EA, which is a massive conglomerate of employees, you're more of just another keg in the machine than you are a cog in the machine than you were as a principal
I don't know. It may go off like a powder keg. That's what you were thinking. What he saw in his mind was a powder keg in between gears about to explode.
Principal world designer to me is not necessary, and for where you're less of an important piece.
But it's probably an upgrade because EA probably pays way more than Firewall.
Now that's probably true.
So it is a step up. And from what we understand, Prof manages to be very influential wherever they work.
But I've also heard that EA watches their employees a lot more. Like there was actually complaints from developers and stuff about how EA they're like, oh well, man, they micromanage us and stuff, and so
I'd love that to happen. Somebody needs to keep an eye on Prof because everybody that worked with Professor Brown has made it very clear that it is a miserable experience, and hopefully EA will go, you can't come over here and make our entire staff miserable. Hopefully. And I will say this, EA is kind of about money. I mean, I don't know how Veilguard slipped through, but I'm hoping that what saves Mass Effect is they're literally going, hey, don't do that again.
Well,
don't do that again that you just did over there.
Veilguard was a subsidiary of EA, actually. So, I mean...
That still doesn't mean they're not going to be making sure keeping an eye out. Yeah.
I mean, they destroyed that company. The company doesn't exist anymore. I mean...
EA came out there with the flamethrower.
Oh, well, they didn't destroy it, but I mean, they downsized it drastically.
Yeah, they pulled. There's like nobody on that team anymore. I think they yanked them all to other projects.
So it looks like the games in development for EA right now that haven't been released are Need for Speed Mobile, which I don't think you should work on that. Plants vs. Zombies 3, maybe not. Some game called Rust Heart, which there's not a lot of information on. A skating game. This one concerns me. It's a Star Wars strategy game. Then there is the Jedi Survivor sequel, which has gotten worse from the first one to the second one. An Iron Man game, Mass Effect, which you're talking about, Battlefield, The Sims, Black Panther, and a Marvel game.
So the only thing you mentioned that falls even somewhat similar to being a space game like Concord was technically a space setting is Mass Effect. And maybe the Star Wars, but I doubt they let somebody random onto those big franchises they have there. They already have set teams. But we know that Mass Effect, they're putting a team together, weren't they?
Mm-hmm. Well, Mass Effect, they are working on currently, actively, with BioWare.
Ooh, BioWare's made some bad calls.
Yeah, I mean, BioWare's a subsidiary that created.
Yeah, so, you know what? That would make sense. BioWare would want them. BioWare would want them. We've seen what BioWare wants to put out. Yeah, dude, the Rust Heart, like you said, has nothing Bloodaxe. There's not. It's being made by whoever the heck Glowmade is, and that's it. All right, we can jump. I mean,
they could bring her on for a project that don't have a lot of lore and history the way Concord did, to see if you can screw up something else. But
they were making a TV series for that.
A AAA game like a Star Wars game would be ballsy. Be stupid, it would be ballsy.
Well, allergic to money is what I told you, dude. These gaming companies, they've disappointed me so much. I have no faith in any of them anymore. So it's like I'm always looking for who's making the next new thing.
Untitled Star Wars Jedi Survivor sequel. That I mean, it's Star Wars. You'd fit right in.
And I swear, I'm not buying the third one.
The power of it.
I waited to buy the first one. It came out on Game Pass. I waited to buy the second one for like 6 months. Came out on Game Pass. I ain't buying the third one. It's going on Game Pass. I'll play it there.
Of course it's going on Game Pass. Hey, You know what? There's the one good thing. If Professor Brown is working on it, it'll make it to Game Pass a lot faster.
That don't mean it'll be any good.
No, that means it isn't good. That's why it's going to... Come on, dude. You've seen what's been coming out on Game Pass?
I would rather wait and pay for a good game than to play a game that sucks.
Back when Game Pass was promising, I was really excited about it. Nowadays, it feels like Game Pass digs through the dumpster behind GameStop to find the stuff to put on it. You get like one decent, interesting game, and then just a bunch of weird stuff. And a lot of it will be a game that you literally, you're like, saying, isn't that game everybody said is like the worst game ever? And then it's on Game Pass. And you're just like, they're literally picking games that fail.
On Game Pass that I meant to ask you about. Towerborn. That looks really interesting.
It's all right. It's again, it's mid, but at least it's not like oh God, no mid. We can check it out.
There's a game coming next month that we actually had fun playing. You remember Savage Planet?
Yes.
Well, now they have Revenge of the Savage Planet, which is a new game that we can play. They have multiple planets this time.
Oh, that'll be fun. We can mess around on that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Mess around, yes, but I wouldn't buy it. But at least the first game was not bad.
Well, like I said, every now and then they grab an indie jewel. We played Moonlighter. Remember on Game Pass, and the Moonlighter. I think all three of us played that and liked it.
Yeah, it's a solo.
You had to shop. It was almost like a Zelda-like. You would go down and you bring in stuff and sell items in your shop.
I've played games like that. I don't know if I played.
You did play Moonlighter. I remember you playing it. You just don't remember. If you saw it, you'd know it. But all three of us played Moonlighter and enjoyed it.
That was fun.
But speaking of Game Pass and stuff coming out on it that isn't doing well, and not doing well on Steam either.
Well, this is something we talked about last week, and we talked about the early release, only getting a few hundred concurrent on Steam. And we said we would look back after the game was released. We know that Sunday is usually when the highest numbers hit, the first Sunday after release. It has actually gone up a little since we looked at it an hour ago. It was at 1424. Now it is at 1438 concurrent. So it is, as we predicted, wouldn't get out of the thousands. I mean, I think we all said we didn't think it would get out of the thousands on the.
Oh yeah, we didn't think it was gonna get. It wasn't gonna break 10. A lot of people are saying that they ain't gonna break 15. And when you're struggling to try to break 15 on your first weekend, you're not doing so hot. And here's the thing: I thought it was on multiple platforms, but it's only on PC and Xbox, which means this is one of the major outlets you're gonna get the game. The only other numbers are going to probably come from Xbox. Unfortunately, it's on Game Pass. So sales-wise, it's looking bad for sales. Might have a lot of players on Game Pass, but that isn't really revenue. Because if it isn't selling, then it's probably not selling Game Pass subscriptions either.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You know, I doubt anybody went and signed up just to play South of Midnight. They bought Game Pass for it. And if you're not selling physical copies, you're not selling subscriptions, probably not making money. No, it is a third party. It is a small game, so dude, that's not fair. You know it ain't going to be anywhere near. Don't compare it to real games.
Well, no, I'm just saying, dude, this is an example of another game that was released on Game Pass and how it did on. And this is a game that wasn't really that great.
I didn't think it was that good at all. No, just no Stalker 1, man. They deteriorated massively. Worse is more people playing it now than will play. like they're not hitting 5,000.
Yeah, no.
South of Midnight ain't hitting 5,000. Let's pick something worse. You know what's sad is I don't even think that South of Midnight hit Veilguard numbers, but what that is Dragon Age though. That's not fair.
Yeah,
that's Dragon Age. The name brought some people in. How's Adamfall doing?
Adamfall? Let's see.
That's a much shorter, like pretty small game, but I'm just curious. Oh, wow. It's losing to Adamfall?
It is losing to Adamfall.
Oh,
Adamfall has more players right now.
Almost. Well, no, you're right.
No, they have more players right now.
You're right. 15. I don't know why I was reading that as 14. Wow. More people are playing Adamfall now.
Yes, that was right.
And the new... Ow, Bloodaxe. You see that? Ow. We're not even going all the time. Just right now, more people would rather play Adamfall than South of Midnight.
And I'll be honest, Adamfall probably close to being on that same level. I mean, yeah. As far as budget goes, and
Actually, I think Adamfall's team is smaller.
Yeah. So,
like Adamfall, I think is a pretty small team. But
Adamfall played clunky.
Yes, and it still got more people playing it than wow. So
But at midnight, at least the story was. It was. I mean, I raised an eyebrow. I was.
Well, no,
curious.
dude, that's what gets me. I mean, there's a lot of elements in South of Midnight that made me want to play that game, man.
Absolutely.
And just it was just it's honestly it's the MC that I can't get over, and it has nothing to do with her being female or being black. It is her attitude and her bad dialogue.
Which goes back to what?
to describe what happened with South of Midnight, there was a bit of an incident. I kind of lost it. I actually got mad at somebody that I'm a friend with because we talked about this game and they told me how great it was, and I said, well, I don't know, I'm kind of concerned about the main character. It seems like she might be ABC, and they said, no, she's none of that. And then I went and watched a couple of reviews and saw some footage, and I kind of got mad because I'm like, I felt like I got lied to. I felt like I'm like, dude. And then I got pissed. I said, do you not know what black people are like? Because I'm like, this is a stereotype. This is like, yeah, man, we was fast as stuff. I missed it. We used to run real fast. Shit, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I'm like, that stupid stereotype. It sounds like somebody trying to sound really black.
Also, being
which
somebody,
is insulting.
I was born in Metairie, Louisiana. You know, on top of that, you've lived in Louisiana.
Yeah.
I mean, Bloodaxe is the closest right now to all of us in Louisiana. I mean, it's like an hour drive for him. It's like a 2-hour drive for us. That is not how.
I had a babysitter
the
that was Bayou as heck.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She made that good gumbo. I know how Bayou act. And dude, there's worse. There's a character in there. And when I saw it, I think she's supposed to be a preacher.
That's my thing. If you're gonna use a stereotype, use a stereotype for the right region. Yeah.
They did with the
But,
fictional
hang on.
characters, the blues singer.
Yeah.
That's all well done. But
How
then
did she
meets
get
this
her powers?
redhead? Oh, what was I telling you? She meets this redhead. And I think she's supposed to be a preacher, but she's got crosses on the booty of her jeans. You know, it's just dumb as hell. And
Honestly, I
insulting.
mean, in Louisiana, you might see that.
It was a dumb though. It
But-
just looks stupid. And
When-
it's all about racism, by the way. And then the
Yeah.
whole plot's about racism.
and that's my point. So when SBI wrote the story, how did she get her powers?
She found him in a damn box in the attic
Picking fluff.
and stole it. Just stole them. She just said, "Ooh, look at these," and then stole them and walked out the house. That's the whole. Ooh, just stole them out of grandmama's attic.
Picking fluff. What now?
What?
Blood?
Well, they didn't call it cotton because that would be racist. So apparently she was a fluff picker
Who was?
in this
What?
weird. Hang on, let me pull it up. I thought,
I saw her find some sewing some needle hooks in the attic,
Wait.
and then
Fluff.
she uses that
Picker.
to pull at the threads. I don't know what the heck you talking about. I think you saw a different game.
no, this let me see if I can find
Let's
it
see, if
again.
you're looking for a little extra fluff for your journey through South of Midnight, find 10
Oh,
panels. Floof.
Apparently they call it floof.
And flip
Oh,
them with
sorry.
strand. So you gotta find. You're finding cotton.
Yes,
So you
That's
increase
how-
your powers by picking.
that's how racist this game is. And I'm sorry.
Oh my
I
god!
despise Kim Belair with all of my heart.
So you guys didn't know about that.
I didn't know about the floof.
I saw the scenes of her getting her hooks, which I guess are cotton pickers or floof pickers. She found them in the attic. She ran out of the house, and then she goes through the tutorial. But I wasn't listening to dialogue because everything she says gets on my dang nerves. So unfortunately, I apparently missed the explanation of the floof. Or maybe I pulled a Xeno and just blocked out the horrifically racist concept of she found cotton picking tools in her white grandma's attic who doesn't like her because her son married a black girl. It's not about Creole lore. The bad guy that steals children. Okay, let me stop spoiling it. It's bad. But when I read this story, I literally was pissed off at my friend for like several days. Like, kids today had to listen to me rant about it because I was so pissed off at the other person because of this. And now I'm more pissed off because it's even more effed up. And I'm like, you suggested this to me? You suggested the game and said it's awesome because you got to run around as a black girl picking cotton for magic power.
See?
It makes you look at him and go like, I don't think you know what racism even really is. Because you're like, what you're saying's kind of messed up. You like this? I don't like it at all.
Oh, wow.
Good Lord. That's worse. I didn't think it was worse than I thought. You know, I don't even want to talk about this. Can we go to this topic? I literally don't serious. I don't want to talk about it. I'm actually getting pissed off at having this suggested to me as a good game to play. Now I'm going like, you think I want to pick them up? You think I like that, huh? Okay. Yeah.
Hey, look, Devil May Cry's got a 96% critic review.
Oh, it must be terrible. Oh, what's the audience say? Oh, yeah, there we go.
It says mediocre, 63. I mean,
63's not good.
It's not rotten, though.
It is to me. Would you watch something with a 63%? Hey, let me ask you this question. Would you order food from a place with a 63% approval
Okay, I would not. But watching something with a 63 is different. Like, I've watched things with worse. But
it's got a lower approval rating.
You can't compare watching something with food.
You're consuming it.
Yeah, but how many things did we see out there that had a lower rating that actually we enjoyed? Those
are not that often. Well, unless I'm watching for bad movie night. Yeah. Like me and my son went to go see Minecraft as a bad movie night, and we actually had a reasonable time. But it was also because we went there expecting exactly what we got, and somehow more than we expected. And not exactly, I don't mean that in a flattering way. Like, it was dumber than we ever thought it would be.
Anyway, there's a lot of controversy about the game. I mean, the TV series. There is apparently a season 2 officially announced.
Which nobody understands because...
I wouldn't say nobody understands. If you go through these, there are some people who did like the thing. But for the most part, people are either... mixed on it or just completely hate it. It didn't seem like anybody was like, this show was awesome. Except for the critics, obviously, because 96%.
Well, I mean, first of all, massive changes to all the characters in their stories that are not flattering. I'm not going to spoil it, but not flattering. Major changes. Dante's an idiot. He gets beat up by a lady because no male character can't take a butt whipping from the female lead.
There's a lot of talk about the...
but the political angle is what really did it.
The anti-American and political
heavy
angles.
Anti-American. Well, they butchered the poor demon refugees. Yes, they're demon refugees.
What?
And the Americans slaughtered them to the song, I Don't Want to Be an American Idiot. Yes, they played Green Day while the Americans are slaughtering demon refugees.
That is okay.
Yeah, no,
I'm going to tune out for the rest of the segment. Y'all go ahead.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's.
I mean, there's not much to go beyond that.
That is,
I haven't watched it, so I'm only going off of what other people are saying. But I've read enough of what other people are saying to get the issues.
I've seen the scene. The slaughter's pretty violent. They're killing kids, man. It's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Like, they make us out to be just psychotic maniacs who kill children. It's pretty jacked up.
And then the last thing is also pretty jacked up, but is coming to a conclusion finally.
Or
getting closer to a conclusion. I mean,
it's going poorly for Disney, which is always good.
Yeah. But James Carano responds to court victory in lawsuit against Disney, a small breath of fresh air as judge orders Disney to turn over actor pay records. So, I mean, yeah, there was a court victory. Now they were trying to figure out damages and stuff. So, I mean, to me, that is a. Well,
they got to turn over the records, which if they're making them turn over the records, that means that the trial is very viable. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be worried about trying to calculate it. You wouldn't be like, well, how much did she lose compared to what you paid? Now, as it says in that article, I want to see those Acolyte pay records. I really do. I want to know what they paid that god-awful crew of terrible people, especially Amanda Steinberg. Oh, I got to know what they paid her. That is one talentless mofo. And I want to see if they paid her like crazy. Because there are rumors that Disney has been giving exorbitant salaries out. Like Rachel Zegler got like multi-millions of dollars for Snow White, and literally she did everything she could to sink that movie before it came out. So and that might be included. That happened after this too. We may get to see the Zegler paycheck versus the Gal Gadot paycheck. We might get to see what they paid Amanda Steinberg versus other people on that show that are talented actors. And here's what's bad. 2 things can happen from this. One, they could get more lawsuits if it proves that they were actually really inappropriately paying people. They could be accused of different biases or pay that way. Sexism or racism or ageism, any one of those might come up if the salaries are too all off over the place. And shareholders could step up and go, you overpaid all these people, and they could get in trouble with their shareholders. Like finding out they gave several $1 million to Zegler, and it's like, she ought to pay some of that back.
Well, I mean, she should.
Well, it's because she did it. It's
whatever she made, she should probably pay some of that back. Plus some. I mean, there are actually, I think, possibilities of her having to pay some large penalties. Probably more so than what it's going to
happen, but I don't try to touch tabloids. But there are some tabloid channels that have said that Disney may be pursuing remuneration. Because here's why. She kind of did sabotage it. I mean, she was going out of her way. When she put that one tag, I'm not going to repeat it here, but when she put a particularly political tag on the actual movie, promo, statement she made, she tied that to that movie. There might be some accountability. Now, there's rumors saying that she wants to sue Disney because Disney didn't let her be in press releases, but I'm like, you were effing up. I don't know. I think your lawsuit's going to have a lot harder time when every time someone talked to you, you're like, this movie's outdated and weird, and just shitting all over it. Maybe they'll remove my co-star's lines and, hey, everybody, something that's really messed up when you consider who my co-star is. Oh, like I said, I'm not rehashing it.
Yeah, skate the edge, bro.
Maybe don't keep commenting on a major conflict. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be interesting to see how a lot of this stuff with Disney pans out, and how much the courts allow people to see versus how much we don't get to see because the Disney has managed to pay them off enough to hide that data.
What's bad for Disney in this situation though is the sponsor for Gina Carano has deep pockets. And so Disney normally tries to postpone and outlast everyone that's tried to sue them in the past. That's not going to happen in this case.
Yeah.
And there's no off-ramp because from my understanding, Gina Carano isn't financially motivated just to settlement because she wants money. Yeah. She wants the discovery and she wants the truth to come out. And that's going to be a death knell for Disney. They're already in a bad situation financially as it is, but this is going to just tip them over the edge. And I cannot wait to get a bucket of popcorn and watch the show.
Brother, I'm with you. And honestly, to me, it's already a victory that they're going to have to show these pay scales because they're going to look bad. Also, there's a good chance Disney's going to get a bunch of trouble because Disney's going to try to lie. I think they're going to try to doctor those records. And if they get caught doctoring them, they're going to be in more trouble. Because it's Disney, dude. They don't give a flip about lying.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll try to doctor it up? But if they get caught doing it, they can be put in contempt. They can get even more trouble because Disney's psycho. So I'm hoping this blows up all in their face because all these corporations need a slap, just to get some sense back into them. And I'm glad that there are things going down to do it.
Well, I mean, dude, we've actually been seeing a lot of corporations getting slapped recently. I mean, we saw Nintendo lose a bunch of patents when trying to sue. Now we're seeing, Disney sort of getting some recompense. Yeah, I mean, dude, Ubisoft is getting smacked around in the courts.
I don't know. Ubisoft is more of a kind of a slapping themselves around, almost.
Yeah,
they're sitting up there. They're doing harder. You know what I'm saying? Like they're doing their own thing.
So we are starting to see some of these companies that have just tried to reach too far, finally getting their hand slapped. Now, if it's going to be much more than a hand slap, I don't know. We still got to see, But for the most part, they have had to withdraw a bit. And that's good to see because a lot of these companies are getting too big for their britches. I mean, we've allowed it for too long, and yeah, it's time to go. Okay, look, you know, you want to talk about this thing, but you want to ignore this. We got to play on an equal playing field here. There's none of this, you know, big, just money wide in it anymore.
I would love to see. I'll close on this. I would love to see a spree. I don't know if we have more topics, but like,
no, that's it.
Okay, I would love to see a trend of shareholders suing the company. Because here's the thing: if you follow Dicejunkies, love us or hate us, one thing we've been saying is that there has been a trend of intentionally losing money. And it's just no way to see it. These are things that we as non-professional dudes just talking could look at and go, that's going to lose a lot of money. And if we can see it, you should see it. And shareholders need to do that. Because as much as I hate to say it, sometimes capitalism to the rescue. Get in there and say, stop doing stuff that loses money. Guess what? It'll improve the quality of what we're getting. Because the stuff we're getting is losing money because it's trash. It's not anything else. It's just trash. It ain't about politics. It ain't about identity. It's poorly performed and written. Look at when they do a decent job and come up with a good idea, split story. Game makes Gangbusters, might be game of the year. But they're not doing that a lot of times. They're making trash and then thinking they can pass it through by going,
even
you're racist if you don't like it. It's like, no, I don't like it because you're annoying. It doesn't matter. Your character's annoying.
I mean, even Split Fiction jumped on some of the trends that are not making money, but
well, I know, but it's still doing well because the game is a.
But they jumped on a couple of trends, that were doing well, so it balanced out.
That's what I'm saying, but not enough are doing that. They put out South of Midnight. You know what I keep hearing? Combat's repetitive and boring. I hear that a lot. So it's like, even outside of the main character, the story beats, the things y'all just pointed out, and the fact that apparently, I know how the whole endgame cycle, I'm not going to spoil it, it's not even a proper last boss, dude. The whole endgame cycle is stupid.
My thing is they also knew what was going to sell, because I've watched videos on it. I've seen a lot of how the lore goes and stuff like that. The lore they put in the preview is the best parts, like some of the best.
That trailer with that was amazing.
And it's like, why can't you just stick with that more fun lore and not get all weird and
Kim Miller.
Okay, yeah. All right, let's Blood, anything before we close out the show?
No, everyone have a blessed Easter. I think that's next weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Are we going to be doing a show next Sunday?
I'll be here.
Okay.
I should be here. I think I'll be done by then. We did all our stuff this weekend, so I'm tired. But yeah, we did our big to-do this weekend.
All right. Well, with that, we'll see you next week. Be sure to go to Dicejunkies.com where you can find links everywhere online, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, all that good stuff. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell on our YouTube channel. And as every week,
we hope you enjoy.